We are back in the kitchen with Chef Jay and Dr. Green as we're going to talk about fermented food and gut health. I'm sure this is important to you, isn't it? You seem to know so much about the gut.
Yes, it's nice to know these things. We must apply it, though, mustn't we?
Absolutely. That's what's most important.
Exactly.
Knowledge isn't enough if you're not applying it.
Exactly.
So what are we doing, Doctor and Jay?
Well, before we start, I think let's focus on what we have on display there. We've got that beautiful fermented cabbage that we've made before. And this is such a quick and easy, item to make at home. Cabbage is affordable, it's accessible.
Yes.
And I love playing around with something like that. We've got it on a bagel there. It's so tasty, it lasts for long, and it's good for your gut.
So how do you resurrect that cabbage to make it so tasty?
So what we do is we start with some fresh cabbage, and all I'm doing is taking out the hard bit at the core.
Does the color matter?
Color doesn't matter. You can go for whatever cabbage. Chinese cabbage is great. I've got some purple cabbage here. I've got some green as well. I think the key thing with this is to start small. We've got a really big jar there. So just try and start with a smaller quantity and see how you go.
The color matters to us in the medical room because the color does contain certain what they call micronutrients.
Okay.
So tomato has a red color. Purple in that has that color. A grape's outer skin.
Okay, so color does matter.
It does.
So we've got the cabbage in the bowl. I've just sprinkled some sea salt over the top. Now, this is an important part of it. So I've used about a tablespoon of sea salt. I would shred all of this cabbage, but just for the sake of time, I've just, slowed down the process. And what you want to do is really massage the salt in. And that's going to draw out all the liquid from there. This is the start of the process. So once we've sort of got it nice and massaged in there, we can then start adding some other aromatics. So I like to just switch it up with some peppercorns. I've got a mixture of peppercorns. I've got some fennel seeds. I've got coriander seeds. I've got some chili flakes. And I'm just going to put that over the top there.
Yummy.
And then literally all it is letting this sit until the moistures really come out of the cabbage.
And how long is that?
That can take, it depends. It can take a couple of hours. It can take, you can leave it to sit overnight. But the key thing is to put it into a really sterile jar. Because any contamination in the jar is going to slow down the fermentation process, and it's going to kill the good bacteria that we're trying to build up.
And then just a quick one, Jay, how do we sterilize?
So
You've got some fancy contraption here.
Not fancy at all, Z. I've just inverted my jars in some steaming water, let that cool down.
Clever.
So the intense heat of the steam is going to annihilate any bad bacteria. So I'm going to put this into my jar, and then again, if you can, use sterilized water or filtered water in your jar to top it off. So we're going to sort of squash down the cabbage. You really want to get it nice and squashed in, because any air that's trapped in here is going to allow the cabbage to sort of float to the top, and you really want it to be submerged in the liquid for it to really get a good fermentation. So I'm going to add the rest of this, and then I'm quickly going to head over here and just top this up with some water.
Do some people add vinegar in there? I've tasted vinegar in fermented foods before.
Indeed.
Is vinegar a thing?
So you can add vinegar. It obviously also adds to the shelf life of the product.
Okay.
But I find the more natural, the better.
Okay.
Because you're really allowing that cabbage to ferment and the good bacteria to build up. And that's essentially why we're doing this today.
Thank you, Jay. Dr. Green, please enlighten us, because we've got a display of some of the, what I find really delicious foods here in terms of fermentation.
Yes,
We've got some kombucha or kombucha, I don't know how you say it.
Kombucha, yeah.
Kombucha. We've got some sauerkraut, some miso, some yogurt. These are all good gut foods, aren't they?
The foodstuffs that you're choosing here are very important because they contain what's called ILA. And ILA is indole. 3, lactic acid. People have heard the word lactic acid.
Yes.
So why it's important is when it enters the gut, the bacteria in your gut, your microbiome, are responsible for switching the ILA over to IPA. Sounds like a cricket game. IPA. And what the IPA is a very powerful antioxidant. And it's one of the most powerful antioxidants. And why we need those, all the metabolic processes make what we call free radicals in the body that can drill holes in the cells and cause permanent cell damage. And what the antioxidant does, the IPA, it actually looks at removing those free radicals in the human body. And that's how this food contributes to a really good outcome at the end of the day.
Powerful, doctor. So basically when you have this ingredients in your microbiome, in your gut, then you've got a healthy neighborhood.
The neighborhood is ready to give you a longer life.
Thank you,
100%.
doctor. Thank you, Chef Jay. To get this recipe, all you have to do is go to afternoonexpress.co.za. And after the break, we talk about allergies and chat to social media personality Jessica Mashaba.